when was the last time we saw 3 teams compete for the EPL from match day 1 to match day 38? In recent times, it's always looking like there's one super team and every other team is playing bad. I don't understand. It's as if they are rotating who should play well this season.
Welcome back to yet another episode of the Late Go podcast. As usual, or should I say, as not so usual, I'm your host for this evening. My name is Jinka. Got two very football, what I call them, football fans on the show with me. I've got JD and I've also got Ahmed. It's been a while since we were on the show. We do apologize for the very long break in transmission. It was due to certain situations beyond our control, but we are sure that we are back now, and we are back to serve you with the best dosage of, football topics, football gist, football banter that you can get almost anywhere on the planet. JD, how are you doing today? How have you been?
Good evening. I'm doing very well. Good to be back on the show.
That's nice. Ahmed, it's been a while.
Yeah, I'm very well. Good evening, guys.
Good evening. We're not going to take too much of our time. We're just going to dive right into the discussion for today. There's been a lot of things happening in the world of football. The most recent one would be maybe Chelsea's loss today rather to Manchester City in the FA Cup final. I'm sure that both of you must have seen the game. What are your initial thoughts on that game?
Nothing surprising. I expected that. The only surprising part is that it wasn't more than a long game. We all expected, or let's say, I expected City to win, and they actually did win. So there's nothing else to add.
Well, I do think that Chelsea did quite well in that game. They did better than I was expecting. Although, yes, I also expected City to win. But, yeah, I think Chelsea gave a good account of themselves overall. City struggled to break them down in certain parts of the game. And Chelsea even tried to cause City a bit of problem during some moments in that game as well. JD, did you see the game? What are your initial thoughts regarding the eventual result?
I did see the game, and the only unexpected result would have been a Chelsea victory. Man City were always favourites going into that game, and I didn't expect anything less. Chelsea tried they tried to salvage something for the season, but then it wasn't meant to be, and Manchester City deservedly won the title. Congratulations to all Manchester City fans.
I mean, it's crazy that Chelsea were planning to stink out the entire season and then still qualify for the Europa League by winning one FA Cup at the end of the season. But the gods of football did not allow it to. I don't know if we should thank the gods of football for that. But anyways,
it would probably have been a problem for them in the coming season if they had won.
Well, you actually have a point. I don't think that with everything that they faced this season, I don't think that the distraction of other competitions would have particularly helped them next season. So, yeah, you do have a point. I still think they will be struggling to make the Conference League because there's still hope of making that.
They can make the Conference League. That's their
level. Staying in the Premier League, we have, should I call it an exciting title race? Because for me, it's no longer exciting.
It's not exciting.
Over the course of the season, we've had a situation where Arsenal looked like they were running away with the title. Then they slip up a bit, allowed City back into the race. And then after some time, City slipped up again. And then Arsenal were always leading. But it looked like they were always giving City the hope that you can still catch us. And that has been the case up until this very point. If Arsenal, in my opinion, had started up for the entirety of the season, I don't think City would even be in the discussion at this stage of the season. But we have a situation where there are only 2 points separating both sides. We have 2 games left to go. Arsenal will be facing Burnley, I think, on Monday, and City will be playing on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember who they are facing. I think it's Villa, Aston Villa.
Okay.
Do you still expect any twists, Samson? Are you still expecting it to slip from Arsenal's grasp? Are you expecting any surprises?
I think if somebody is writing this script, the person is tired already, and I
Absolutely.
think at this point
Definitely.
we can only wish Arsenal all the best. Uh, I saw the match against West Ham, and if anything was going to slip off Arsenal's hands, it would have been in that match. They were not good in that match. They they got over the line by the skin of their teeth, and it was a very controversial match, a season-defining match for some, because West Ham survivor was hanging on that equalizing goal that was disallowed. So, but then Arsenal got away with the decision, and they are now in the driving seat. So I don't expect uh, any anomaly to happen. In fact, I even feel City might drop points in these last two games. There is the FA Cup victory. Motivation is down. I mean, I'm just the teams City are playing. They are much tougher than the teams Arsenal are playing.
But if
So
you
I don't
consider
expect
the fact
Arsenal to.
that
They both will play
Aston Villa
Crystal Palace.
has
Both of
a
them will play Crystal Palace.
European final to prepare for, that could be a
I was going to
distraction
say
for
that.
them. And they've
I was going
done
to say
a
that.
good part of beating Liverpool yesterday. So I think they are more or less
They've
very
confirmed their
assured
place
of
in the
making
Champions
it
League
there
for
on
next
next
season.
season. So
Because I
that
wanted
in
to say
itself,
Bournemouth might be a bigger threat to City than
definitely.
even Aston Villa.
Because Bournemouth needs a win to stay within touching distance of Liverpool.
Exactly.
So,
Just in
but
case
then
Liverpool messes up.
yes, but then overall,
Exactly.
I don't think Arsenal would lose the league again at this point. We are happy for them if and when they get over the line, and would would manage their nuisance till the start of next season.
Yeah, I mean, what about you? Do you think anything is still going to happen in that title race?
Well, in football, you never rule out anything. Just like I was saying before we started this show, the drama that happened in Portugal, the relegation battle going on there. Uh, so you can never rule out anything. Nevertheless, I think Arsenal has a high chance of winning the title for the first time in a long while. Because if you look at the difficulty of the opposition they both have left to face, I think Arsenal will be having it easier compared to Manchester City. And good enough for them, they have no further distraction of any other competition. So they can afford to go in gun blazing against all the things they have left compared to City, who just got off the podium in Wembley for their victory over Chelsea in the FA Cup final. And that could be a distraction in itself, but that could also serve as a motivation for them to go all in and face other oppositions with utmost intensity and all. But I think Arsenal would have it easier, so I kind of tip them to get over the line. And add to that the fact that they got to this stage last season and they faltered at the end of it, towards the end of the season. I think they should learn from that and get this over the line.
It looks like we've lost JD. I'm not particularly sure.
I think it's still
I'm
here.
assuming he shares the same sentiment. Assuming he shares the same sentiment. But still staying with the Premier League. I know we've spoken about the title race, but there's still the small situation with Liverpool and their struggles to qualify for the Champions League this season. I think it's been a season to forget for them. But what would even make it a bit more, would I say, understandable, would be if they qualified for the Champions League. At the moment, it still looks like it's possible. It's within their, it's totally in their hands. But any further slip-ups going forward would mean that, it goes on to the last day. In fact, they've slipped up already. They just need Bournemouth not to win. If Bournemouth win, it means that the gap becomes 1 point, which means that it goes into the final day. Villa, Arsenal, City, and United are already through. Do you think that Liverpool will hold on, Samson, for this? You hold on to this Champions League spot?
Okay, I just want to check the fixtures. Liverpool will be playing.
Bournemouth's fixture is actually City, a game that they need.
Liverpool will be playing Brentford on the last day. Bournemouth will be playing City on match day 37, and Nottingham Forest on match day 38. Now, if you go to the table, Brentford needs to stay in 8th position. So Liverpool is not having a free ride on the last day of the season.
That's true.
If they are not careful, they can lose that match. So Liverpool have to pray that City beats Bournemouth first. If City beats Bournemouth, then Liverpool is definitely going to the Champions League.
Definitely,
because that will be 4 points, and Bournemouth can make up for 4 points. The Liverpool situation is a weird one, I must say. At the start of the season, considering the season they had last time and the additions they got this summer, they looked like a serious contender for the league. And I have to credit Yinka's observation of Liverpool, especially after the first 2 games. They were playing expressway football. Like spaces everywhere. They were just outscoring teams, and Yinka pointed out that it was not sustainable. We are here at match day 37, and the only reason why we are discussing Liverpool in the Champions League is because the English teams in Europe this season got a 5th slot for the league.
Exactly.
If there was no 5th slot, I mean, slot might probably be sacked already, Seth.
All right, I don't want you to go any further, just because I want us to calmly discuss this slot case. Now, start of the season, I mean last summer, this guy got a transfer budget that is equivalent to some small countries' GDP. He spent about £450 million, on the transfer market. He was doing point and kill. He got Isaac, he got Kerkers, he got who else did they get again? Ekitike, he got Florian Wirtz. Players that you would expect to give. He got Leone, even though he got injured. Now, in his defense, we can easily say he was not able to use most of these players the way he would want to, because Isaac was injured for a considerable period of time. Leone was also injured for a considerable period of time. So one could say, okay, he did not get all of those players. But to counter that, you could also say that he won the league without all of these players last season.
Yes.
And the core of the team that won that league, save for Trent Alexander-Arnold and maybe someone I can't remember, but the core of that team,
Luis Diaz.
And Luis Diaz, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Luis Diaz. But the core, in fact, apart from Alexander-Arnold, I wouldn't count Luis Diaz as one of the core members of that team. I think he was
Come on.
just, a very good member, part of a
Come on.
functioning system, in my opinion. But
Alright.
It was
I think that he
instrumental too.
kept the core of that team, and he should not have struggled the way he has struggled this season. Now, I've seen a lot of his interviews where he keeps saying he knows what the problem is. I mean, he has been saying this for about 10 match days now. We know what the problem is. We are going to fix it. And every single game, he keeps getting battered. We know what the problem is. We're going to fix it. He come out the next game, he get battered. Do you think it's wise for Liverpool to stick with him next season? Do you think he has been exposed, or do you think they just need to back him up with another war chest and say, okay, go take another 300 million, improve this team, and see, let's see what you're going to do for us next season? JD,
Who
I'm
wants
going
to
to
go?
start with you.
Okay, let Jerry go first.
In football, you can never say never. If Ateta is still at Arsenal for 7 years, Arne Slot won the Premier League title in his first season. So if he is having this kind of season, you can already understand that he has already bought himself another season. So if this season went the way it happened, you can excuse him for this failure because he had to deal with several injuries during the course of the season. He had to deal with players that were coming newly into the league and all of those things. So the fact that I won the Premier League last season has bought him enough time. So personally, I feel like Liverpool should let him go because I'm going by the series of interviews he's had. It seems like he's devoid of ideas. It seems like he doesn't really know what he's up to. But then, given that he won the Premier League last season and he's still very close to qualifying for Euro, Liverpool should give him another chance. If by next season he doesn't prove himself, then they can take a decision on him.
Ahmed, what do you think?
Alright, I think I'll be standing behind them and the slot. And the reason is because I remember when Chelsea were at the point of signing Maresca, we had this discussion. And my first question then was that where are the alternatives? No disrespect to every coaches we have out there right now, but the top quality readily available alternatives are nowhere near available as at this point. I don't, I can't see, I can't see them. I can't find them. I don't know. Are the quality of coaches dropping? I think that is one discourse we should start to look into. Are the quality of coaches dropping? Because back in the days we have a lot of very good coaches, but right now we can count the topmost coaches on one of their hands, and you start struggling to add to their list. I don't see that alternative that can come into the fire, get running at the blast of the whistle. And it's not proved that last season. They came in and won the EPL on the first try. It is not nothing. Yes, they're struggling badly this season, but there are factors we can look into, like Jason mentioned. We have to deal with a lot of injuries. Issa came in, we expected him to come and do a lot. He got injured immediately. McAllister, who was a key part of last season's team, struggled badly with injury this season. Struggled badly with injury this season. He lost Luis Diaz, who was a key component in attack. Now I have to rely on new additions who are very new to the league.
He
Ekitike,
asked
Florian
for those
Wirtz,
players, though.
yeah, he did. But you should give him the benefit of adaptation. These guys are very new in the league. Yeah, Ekitike tried to contribute his quota, but I think he got injured at some point too. He has had to deal with a lot of injuries. So, and add to the fact that I don't think quality alternatives are readily available. I think we should just go back to the drawing board, see what has gone wrong this season. And luckily for them, we can't say the season is a total failure because they are still in contention for UCL qualification. It would be that they are going to the back door or not. The point is they are in contention for qualification. So if he gets that across the line, that is something they can hold on to. That is one success in a way. It's not the ultimate thing as expectation for Liverpool is concerned. But we can hold that, go back to the drawing board, re-strategize coming into next season. I don't think they really need to start spending a lot. They just need few additions, and hopefully they recover their key players. I believe with that they should get a better showing lesson, and after that I believe that will reduce expectations for them, judging by how they navigated this season. So that is something they can also rely on to bring out their best come next season.
All right, so unfortunately, it looks like we've lost Samson again. But just by looking at his face, I could tell that he was not going to agree with both of you. And in my own opinion, I think that Arne should be fired at the end of this season. In fact, I strongly believe that Arne should be fired at the end of the season. I think he's bereft of ideas at this moment. But when you get new players, and for one reason or another, you're not able to use those players, maybe it's due to injuries or due to adaptability issues or whatever the issue might be, then you go back to what has worked. You have to take a step back and go back to what has worked previously. He had, like I said, the core of the players that won that Premier League last season are still there. He could have gone back to that and tried to get results in the meantime until he's able to, integrate all of these new players into the squad the way he would like to. Also, I think that because of the way he handles press conferences recently, I mean, he said something about scoring 2 goals at Villa Park is not easy.
He's beginning to move like Ruben Amorim.
As a fan, that's not what I want to hear. And I feel like it's beginning to sound like Amorim in some ways. So I think he's lost it. And to respond to your point about where the alternatives are, I think that before Chelsea went for Xabi Alonso would have been a good place to start again. In my opinion, it's a train that Liverpool have missed. Alonso knows the club. Alonso has shown that he can, manage a squad, maybe not of Liverpool's caliber, but something not quite far from them in Bayer Leverkusen. Alonso went to Real Madrid, tried to impose his style. It turned out that he got fired. And now, should I say in hindsight, we can all say that it wasn't particularly Alonso's fault, especially when you consider the mess that's going on at Real Madrid right now. So I think that Alonso has built himself a bit of a rep in terms of coaching for him to be given that opportunity. I'm not expecting much from Arne Slot next season, to be honest. And I think that a lot of those players are not particularly happy with him. I see Mohamed Salah coming out every once in a while trying to drop 1 or 2 ins. And what that tells me is that the whole squad is not even behind him. I'll not be surprised if he's fired this summer. But that's just my opinion.
If you ask my personal opinion, I feel like he should be let go. But then if you look at it logically, he won the Premier League just last season. That was his first season. So it wouldn't be bad giving him another season.
Now, if you win the Premier League a season ago and you have a bad season the following season, what I would classify as a bad season is maybe not winning the Premier League, but you should comfortably qualify for the Champions League. Liverpool have 59 points. 59 with 1 game to go. They've lost 12 games. When Simone Inzaghi lost 12 games for Inter in 2022-2023 season, we wanted to have his head. And that was a team that did not invest £450 million. He has lost 12 games. They've conceded 52 goals this season. If you want to put that in perspective, Wolves, the bottom placed team in Premier League this season, have conceded 66 goals. That's just 14 goals more than Liverpool in 5th place. I mean, it's a terrible season. Tottenham Hotspur have conceded 55 goals. That's just 3 goals more than Liverpool. In my opinion, I think it's not one of those seasons where you can say, oh, it's okay to have a bad season. He got knocked out of the Champions League early, in my opinion. He didn't even do well in the cups. I mean, let's even say you have a bad season in the league. The cup is an avenue for you to even show that, okay, the league is a marathon, but in one-off games, we can still show what we have to offer, and we can still show everybody that we are still a solid team. But even in the cups, it did not really show anything. So, in my opinion, I think, and again, I will still keep saying it, his demeanor in press conferences, the way he talks, the things he says, suggests to me that he may be out of his depth. I may be wrong, and I'll gladly eat my words if it turns out that I'm wrong. But I called it at the start of the season, after 2 games. I told you guys that Liverpool was not going to have a good season because I did not like the way that they were defending. And this had nothing to do with, injuries or whatever. In fact, I don't think they had bought Isaac that time. Isaac is not even a defender if you really think
They are
about
not
it.
signing them.
So I said it that they were not going to have it because the system was poor. If you look at the way they play, their press is easy to play against. One pass, and you've passed their press. So in my opinion, I think they should let him go. And I think they've also missed a very big opportunity by letting Xabi Alonso sign for Chelsea. That would have been a very good place to start again.
Who else would you recommend?
So,
Who else would you recommend now
okay,
that
right
Alonso
now?
is not available? Yes.
Diego
Now,
Diego
if I
Other
wanted
coaches
to
will become
recommend
available for the
another
start of
coach,
next season.
Diego Simeone.
initially I would say maybe, hold on. Obviously, I need to think about it. But because I've been put on the spot now, the first name that comes to my head is Unai Emery. But because of the contrasting style, he's not the favorite person, per se, because Unai Emery also has his own flaws. Personally, I would say if you can get Simone Inzaghi to break off his contract, why not?
Inzaghi might be available come the end of the season because Al Hilal
Not.
does
If
not
you
want
can
to
get
play.
Simone Inzaghi to break off his contract, why not? Go and get him. Simone Inzaghi has. I know that Simone Inzaghi has brain farts every once in a while, but he's still a coach that can give any club consistency. In terms of, I think at the moment he's unbeaten in the Saudi league. He will do well in the cup. He will definitely do better than what Arne Slot is doing at the moment. Because as it's looking now, it's looking like what Arne Slot benefited from was, 1, his rivals were completely off form last season. 2, he inherited a squad that still had, his core and was still fired up. Now that he has the opportunity to impose his own ideas, it's looking like, there's a problem.
Inzaghi was linked to Liverpool while at Inter.
But
before
that's true.
I was linked to Liverpool.
Before we leave this topic, I want to hear Samson's thoughts as well. JD, when you're done, let Samson.
The funny thing about it is that if Al Hilal does not end up winning the Saudi Pro League, the club might fire him. And then if Liverpool starts next season badly, it just might be a coincidence. Inzaghi might find himself at Liverpool next season.
It's a possibility. I would consider it if you ask me. I would consider it. If I think properly, there's probably 1 or 2 other coaches that we can look at. I'm not going to consider coaches like. Sorry? I'm not going to consider Glasner. For me, Glasner does not have that CV.
They can coach Allegri from Milan. They need a lot of stability.
Allegri is
the same reason. I wouldn't advise Allegri for the same reason that I would not advise Emery, because of the contrasting style. In fact,
what do you think about Conte for Liverpool?
But Samson, let me hear what you have to say.
Okay, before I even say anything about Slot, this EPL, this is your EPL. When was the last time we saw? When was the last time we saw 3 teams compete for the EPL from match day 1 to match day 38? In recent times, it's always looking like there's one super team and every other team is playing bad. I don't understand. It's as if they are rotating who should play well this season. Anyways, back to Slot. Uh, Before I went off, I want to correct something that Ahmed said. Ahmed said is are we having shortage of good coaches? I don't think we're having shortage of good coaches. I think we now have more big teams. Some 10, 15 years ago, in the whole of England, we had just maybe just 3, 4 teams that are strong that require a big coach. And the big coaches were always going around these big teams. So they looked as if they were plenty. Now you have PSG,
Olayinka
Tottenham,
or Alex Ferguson, they didn't go anywhere. They were went to there for a long while.
or they were there for a very long time. In Arne Slot's case, I think one of Arne Slot's biggest problem this season was trying to step out of Jurgen Klopp's shadow. The title he won was littered with a lot of he benefited from Klopp's team. Why that is true?
It's the truth, if you ask me.
Why that is true? We have
For
to
the guys that are
also
not
be,
dependent on and stop being consistent. Salah, for example, Salah is the shadow of himself.
Ahmed, calm down. Ahmed, calm down. While that was true, that he rode on the back of Klopp's team, we also have to point out the fact that Arne Slot's Liverpool title-winning team, they played differently from Klopp's team.
How?
They were not as vertical as Klopp's team. They were not as aggressive in pressing as Klopp's
There was too much possession-based football. I agree.
God bless you. They were conservative. They were able to switch between styles within games. And I felt that this season he really wanted to step out of Klopp's shadow. And I'll give you some instances. He benched Robertson for almost the whole season, even though Kakes was a very terrible player at left back this season. All because he wanted to show off his new toys. At a point, he was just playing Frimpong, even as poor as Frimpong was at right back. So there were a lot of tactical issues that he had this season. Like Ahmed said, he started the season with an injured Gravenberch and McAllister. Those two guys were the key players in his title-winning team. But then, it is not enough excuse for him to perform this woefully. Personally, because of his press conferences alone, they should sack him. He was so bullish.
Yeah, he has been waffling actually.
He was so bullish, so arrogant, and when you hear him speak and you check where he is on the table, you start wondering, what is this guy saying? So personally, his press conferences alone is enough to sack him. But then, like Ahmed said, who do you want to replace him with? So I think that is what has bought him another season.
Who do you want to replace him with? Who do you want to replace him with? Now, no person they get another mediocre season.
Yeah,
Before you know, you've done 3 mediocre seasons and you're in Bantaira. That's how Man United eventually stuck with Eric Ten Hag, and then they got to Amorim and then stuck with him for another season when they could have sacked him a long time ago. I mean, if another person comes and he does not perform, sack him as well now.
And hire a new person.
Personally, I would advise them to go for Iraola.
Maybe
That's another beautiful option.
Maybe the only problem I have with Iraola, obviously, is the same problem that I have with Glasner, the CV. They've not managed a big team before.
Glasner have CV.
I'm talking about big team now. Glasner has a very good CV of developing teams that you would not expect much from to do well, because the pressure is little at that level. When you take it up to a club like Liverpool or Man United, the pressure is much more. Expectations are higher. I've not seen him at that level before. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
It's not like he does not
I
have
agree
skill
with
in it. Like
Alonso
he does
because
not
these new
perform.
age coaches,
first,
most of them, the opportunities they've gotten, they've not made the most of it. So I can agree with Alonso. I understand where he's coming from.
I think Slot
Maybe they
will
go
be
carry
there.
Bodalas now.
When they go carry who?
The
Show
young
them if you
61-year-old man,
Arab.
Who is that?
all the
Make
way.
it show them with it. Bodalas no get having coach.
Ah,
That man is
Around
evil.
football.
May the best go.
His football
May
is evil, man.
the best go one full season with by scoring 32 goals in 38 games.
32 and
32 and
25
28
goals.
goals.
This yellow cards every game.
Man. They scored 3 in their last game.
Anyways,
I was
let's move
surprised.
on. We've spoken about Liverpool
Liverpool
situation and Abiyo and
It looks like
Finidi.
Guardiola on side. It looks like Guardiola. But do you have
So,
anything to say
speaking
about
about
how Guardiola turned the season around? At some point in the season, everybody wanted Guardiola's back. He was finished. He was this. He was that. But now he has done the league double and on the verge of
call JD's name if you want to call
What
JD's name now. Call JD. Call his
What did I
name.
say about Guardiola?
Call
What did I
his
say?
name.
Guardiola was finished now.
Let's move
Guardiola
on.
was
JD
Let's
said
move on.
Guardiola was
Let's
finished.
move on. Oh.
What? It was contextual now. He's been buying his way, actually.
Okay, now he has
Anyways,
Fine.
moving on. We'll face that one later. Xabi Alonso has reportedly agreed a deal to become Chelsea manager from this summer. Chelsea have been woeful this season. There's no other way to put it. They've been poor. They currently sit 9th in the Premier League. Got knocked out of Carabao Cup. That's the FL Cup semi-finals, if I'm not mistaken. And they lost today to City in the final of the FA Cup. Got knocked out of the Champions League in the second round, if I'm not mistaken, as well. They lost woefully. I think it was 7-2 or 8-2 on aggregate. They have so many problems, and I know we've discussed Chelsea's problems on this show a number of times. And apart from the management problems, that's the issues of the pitch with the way the club is structured, financial issues that they have with the debts that they have. There's also the issues with the way they buy players. They've spent about £1.5 billion on transfers, and it does not look like anything is coming off that. In fact, one of their owners came to admit that they're would I say he admitted that they're running a trading scheme, player trading scheme, so to speak. The hope is to get some of these players on a very good fee and then sell them off for a profit. Now, it looks like they want to get their act together. That's what it looks like to me. It feels too early to say, but they've gone for Xabi Alonso, someone that, for me, is one of the most promising coaches in Europe right now.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this? I'm going to start with Samson. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's the solution to their problems? Do you think it's something that is worth noting to say, okay, good step in the right direction, but there are still a few problems that need to be solved? What exactly do you think, this signifies?
Alonso is a good step in the right direction. But then, Chelsea have a way of taking a good step in the right direction and 15 steps in the wrong direction. So there's nothing to be happy about yet. Alonso is a good coach, but like we have always emphasized, there is an administrative problem at Chelsea that is beyond what is happening on the pitch. What is happening on the pitch is just an output.
A reflection.
It's a reflection of the decay behind the scene. And if they don't sort their administrative issues, Alonso will quickly become 15 steps in the wrong direction. Tactically, he's a good
Hmm.
coach. He has the CV. He has done something like this with Leverkusen. But the main question is how much control is he going to have? Is he going to resume work and he's going to be reading about the players they will give him in the newspapers? Or he resumes one day and they tell him, we have bought this, we have bought this, we have bought this. Make it work. So, if Chelsea does not correct their administrative structure, both technically and commercially, there is going to be a problem for whoever the manager is. So, I think Alonso is a temporary good news, but then how much of a support is he going to get?
All right, Samson. I think you've made very good points. But before I give my opinion on this Xabi Alonso Chelsea thing, I'll let JD go with his thoughts as well.
Yeah, with the news of Alonso imminently joining Chelsea, it's a step in the is the right step.
I think Ahmed should go.
It's the
JD
first step in
is
the right
having
direction.
network issues.
It's the first step in the right direction. But then we know that Chelsea's problem is not entirely about coaching. We know that firstly they need to sort their issues
Ahmed.
in the hierarchy. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
Samson, we can get it there.
I said you should go.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So I said
Yeah.
Alonso's appointment is the first step in the right direction. But then their problem does not entirely lie on coaching. It goes way beyond that. They need to first address their problem in the hierarchy before we can talk about coaching. But then you know that Alonso has been in this situation before. He has done with Bayer Leverkusen. We saw how he picked them from that position that he met them to leading them to
Ahmed has even left.
Bundesliga and Cup double. They were on the verge of winning the treble before then they lost to Atalanta in the Europa League final. So Alonso has a proven track record. He's a good man. He's the right person for them at this point in time. But then it depends on what the management wants. It depends on the agreement they have with the coach. If Alonso is willing to work, is willing to put his expertise on the line, what does Chelsea management themselves want? We know that over the last few years, Chelsea have been running without a real direction. They've been going without actual projects. So we really do not want know what the Chelsea project is about. But then I feel like Alonso can bring in a new wave into the team. He understands how to work with the kind of players they have. They have a lot of youngsters in their ranks. Alonso was a successful player. He has proven himself with Bayer Leverkusen. He was the one that announced the likes of Frimpong and Florian Wirtz before they moved to Liverpool. So I feel like if he is coming to Chelsea at this point in time, then I feel like if the management can work in line with him, it will really do them a lot of good. And then going forward, they can address what the issues are, and then gradually they get out of this mess that they currently find themselves.
Okay, so again, I think the biggest problem that Chelsea have at the moment is their management. They have certain policies in place that prevents coaches from doing their work the way that they should do it. The way I see Xabi Alonso is almost the same way that I see Maresca. What's his first name now? I don't know why I can't. Fabio. Is it Fabio Maresca? Enzo Maresca. It's almost the same way that I see Enzo Maresca. A very fine coach, promising coach, but a coach that was limited by policies that the board put in place. Now, I agree with you guys that Xabi Alonso is a step in the right direction in the sense that he has promise. He has shown that he can deal with youngsters. In fact, he has won with youngsters in the past. However, if it comes to Chelsea and some of these policies remain the same, and they tell him to give certain players playing time, just like it was reported, and certain players should not play, and the medical staff gets to interfere in certain decisions that you would normally expect the coach to make, then it's only going to be a matter of time before Alonso also failed at Chelsea. But before we move on from this Alonso discussion, I'll let Ahmed, also share his thoughts.
Well, I think Alonso is a step in the right direction. He's way better than where they currently are. That's one good appointment. But something I would also add is that Chelsea squad needs fixing. Like you look at Chelsea squad list and you compare that to the huge amount they spent over the last number of transfer windows, then you imagine that where is this money they spent? Where is the quality of the squad? It doesn't correlate. That's why it's so poor. Ask myself this question: when you take out, for example, an Enzo Fernandez or Moses Caicedo from Chelsea's midfield, who are those replacements you can point to? There is none I can think of. And this is one squad that spent up to £1 billion in the last number of years, cumulatively.
$1.5 billion, in fact.
So I think, look at their defensive situation. There is no quality centre back. Today it is Colwill, tomorrow it is Fofana, some other day it is Adara Bioyo. That squad is so poor. So I think that's where they need to start from. They need to forget the fact that they've actually spent so much of those guys, because now they should start taking losses. And because they don't have a number 9 that is so dependable for a team that spent that much. So you go to Arsenal, you see a Gio Perez and Harvard who is locking somewhere. Go to City, there is a Haaland, and these are things you are planning to contest against.
And Mamouche.
You can't go to that war with a Delap or a Joao Pedro who is, he's trying his best, but the consistency of that top striker of the team who is calling to win the Premier League, I don't think you can rely on a Joao Pedro. And I said it that
I don't even think Joao Pedro is a 9.
I expected that Chelsea would be all over Osimhen when he was available last season, but that ship has sailed. Now they need to look for alternatives. They need to fix that squad. The only outstanding performer I know they have is maybe Cucurella. Caicedo is trying his best, and Enzo. Even Palmer at some point he was found wanting.
Palmer has been disappointing for them.
It is criminal to imagine that Chelsea couldn't afford to raise their offer to get Maina at the start of the season. I don't know who are those making that decision for them, but if they are to expect anything meaningful from Alonso, that's why needs fixing. You can't go into the EPL season with such a squad and expect Alonso to do magic. That is setting up for failure.
Well, before we move on from Chelsea, I'm going to and this is just my theory, I'm going to argue that the reason they did not go for players like Mike Maignan and Victor Osimhen is, would I say the reason? I'll say that for the fact that they did not go for Mike Maignan and Victor Osimhen is a pointer to the fact that their focus is on player trading. They would rather get younger players that they can still flip in future. So once you get to a certain age,
they were so interested in Maignan. It wasn't like they were so interested in Maignan.
And it's still further, proves my point.
They just couldn't add 5 million to.
They were interested in Mike.
With Mayan, they wouldn't be getting a resale value.
Exactly, so they would not want to go beyond a certain price limit. Because they're not getting a resale for that player.
They were lowballing. They were offering 50 million, and Milan wanted
exactly now
million.
Because the plan is not to. They want to improve the team. They want to improve the team, but they want to improve the team with players that they know that they can get money for in future. So if the player that is coming in is not resellable, then they would rather keep their bid at a very, very low threshold and know that, okay, this is money that we are losing. It's a policy that does not make sense, but for me, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that that's what they are doing. Because otherwise, why can't they spend 70 million on a Victor Osimhen, for example? It's because they know that in another 3 years, Victor Osimhen cannot be sold for good money because
For
he
more
would be
than that,
30, and who would want to take him from them
his
at
value will
30?
depreciate.
So that's
Obviously, the ones they
that's
are
the way I
even
see it.
slotting also, their value looks to be depreciating too because they are not meeting us. Their performance is not up to expectations. It's also
They
worked
came
that
in
way
as
also.
promising talents.
All right, they should keep promising.
Anyways, um, we are going to move on to quite a couple of other topics that we have for today. One of them has to do with Xabi Alonso's former club, Real Madrid. Um, before I even go into this, I'll say that in all my years of existence, since I've been following football, and I've been following football for quite a while now, I do not think that I've seen Real Madrid in this kind of circus that they find themselves in. I mean, I've always known Real Madrid to be, a club that offers stability, even when it looked like they were in their banter era, the period where they were struggling to qualify for Champions League quarterfinal and Lyon was knocking them out of the Champions League. They still gave this aura of stability. Right now, however, it doesn't look like they are stable. There's drama here and there. They have their president coming out to bash everybody and sort of challenge his rivals. There's just a lot going on. But in all of this, we're not going to spend too much time on this. We're going to try to use these last two topics to quickly round up. In all of this, there are reports that they want to get Jose Mourinho. The way that I'm thinking about it, they're thinking Jose Mourinho is probably going to help stabilize the squad on the field while they try to get stability in the back office as well. That's on management level.
I think they are
Quickly,
looking.
we do not have time. We have less than 5 to 10 minutes. What are your thoughts on this? Jose Mourinho returning to Real Madrid, good move or bad move? JD.
If you ask me, I would say it's a good move. Going by what is happening at the club right now, Real Madrid are at an all-time low. They've never found themselves in this situation before. And Perez thinking about Jose Mourinho at this point in time tells you that he understands that there's a problem in the locker room. And if your locker room is not at unity, I am afraid that there's literally nothing that you want to go and do on the pitch. There's a discord in the team. There are different caucuses in the team, players belonging to different factions, and if you look at it critically, you would see that Jose Mourinho is the right person to fix that. You first need to settle your locker room, then you can transmit the unity in the locker room to the pitch. So Real Madrid at this point in time needs to get rid of all these things that are happening in the dressing room. So Perez going for Jose Mourinho, I feel like is the right step. Is the right step for him. They need somebody that can actually stamp his authority on the team. They don't need many of these new coaches that would be focused on tactics and all of those things. But then they need somebody that can manage these players, manage different egos, and get them working together as a unit. So Jose Mourinho going to Real Madrid, I feel like is the right one for now. I cannot guarantee you about the sporting results. I cannot guarantee you that we'll get them results. But then that it will stabilize the dressing room. I can assure you that Jose Mourinho will come in and do that. So I feel like if the dressing room is stable, if there's unity, they are in one accord, I feel like results on the pitch will start coming gradually. So I feel like Jose Mourinho
Ahmed,
will
what
return
about
to
you?
Real
What do you
Madrid and
think?
do
Let's try to make it fast.
exactly like Zidane did in his second season. He
I'm
came
not.
back, he
I'm
proved
not
his
sold on.
mettle.
I'm
The
not sold
same
on
thing with Carlo
Mourinho.
Ancelotti. We have seen coaches return to Real Madrid, and I feel like Jose Mourinho will not
Sugar,
be a different case. So I feel like it's a good one for them.
sugar,
JD, I know you're a Mourinho fan. Calm down, calm down, calm down.
sugar.
I know
Calm
you have a
down.
lot to say about Mourinho. Let
Take
Ahmed
Mourinho to
tell
Inter.
us what he
It
thinks.
doesn't have to do with me being a Mourinho fan, but then logically looking at it, you would agree with me that Mourinho is the right person for them at
I
this point
don't
in
agree
time,
with you.
except they are
You
getting
know,
a Pep Guardiola.
hopefully you guys have this ginger that you have today, and we can meet again next week. We can
Yeah.
dissect Mourinho properly, but we don't have a lot of time. I just want to hear Ahmed's
Actually,
thoughts.
I'm not sold on Mourinho, and I think his time at the top of the job is far gone. I think the tactics are obsolete at this time and age But I can understand where Madrid is coming from. At this point, they are not looking for a tactician. They want a manager who can settle their ego in the dressing room, because they believe they have players who can decide things on their own, which is where the Mourinho factor comes in. But would that be enough to get them sorted over what the younglings in Catalonia are doing? I don't think that would be enough. I would argue this for the sake
Well,
of
for me,
just like you said.
the truth is, I'm neither here or there. I've never seen Madrid as a club that requires too much tactics to perform. In fact, I remember saying at the start of the season that Xabi Alonso might suffer because he would want to for lack of a better word now, tacticalize. You overcoach the players that he had, that he has in the team. What Madrid usually needs is someone that can unite their dressing room and get some of their quality players to play well. Once you're able to do that, I think you will do well. So in that sense, I don't think appointing Mourinho is a bad idea.
He did that very well.
Yeah, so if he's able to do that, then he should do well. Well, right now, I'm not sure what to think. Let me see how they're
Mourinho is the master of the dressing room.
Of course. Let's see how their summer unfolds. We still have something else to discuss, but I think we can leave it until next week. It's about Max Allegri and AC Milan. So our viewers should probably tune into the show next week, and we'll be able to dissect that properly. AC Milan, like you all know, are having their struggles as well. So that's not something that we can discuss in 2-3 minutes or so. We're going to leave it as it is now. Huh?
If
they allow Samson to start talking about Allegri now.
We should bring in Samson and Jeff. I mean Jeff and Jay.
So let's leave it as it is now. I think we've had the time to discuss on a lot of topics, and it's been a very good session. Unfortunately, we lost Samson towards the end of the recording tonight, but I'm sure he will be here with us next week, inshallah. Guys, I've enjoyed the show tonight. I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as I have. Again, to our viewers, thanks for sticking by us. You can find us on all of our social media pages. The name of the show remains the Let Go Podcast. That's the name of our handles on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and even Twitter, now called X. Until we see again or meet again next week, have a lovely weekend. A lovely week.